Money and Me on Your Money, only on Money FM 89.3.
Hey, welcome to Money and Me. I'm Michelle Martin. Time for a Singapore budget reaction. You may have heard announced in the Singapore budget on Friday that from next year, when you turn 55, one of your CPF accounts, a special account or SA, will cease to exist. Loo Cheng Chuan is founder of the very popular movement. He's long championed using your CPF as a tool to grow your retirement savings. They're called the 1M65 movement. He joined me back in 2019, we were talking about becoming a CPF millionaire back then. He and his wife accumulated 1 million in their CPF account before they turned 45. Amazing. And it was Loo who has long championed shielding your CPF SA funds, a strategy that, well, now cannot exist without a special account. CPF shielding involved moving your SA funds to a short-term instrument and then liquidating that to maximize your special account interest rates of 4.08%. Technically, it was sort of like an ATM almost. If you could preserve your capital if you withdrew less than 4.08% per annum, but that is no more. Loo tells me he's received thousands of messages after changes to the CPF was announced in the budget. He has a community of over 33,000. Is that right, Loo? Good morning.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Michelle.
Wonderful to speak with you again. So, I want to reiterate background to the listener who may not be clear. Your CPF SA account will be closed once you turn 55. So what happens to your SA funds, you think? They'll be transferred to your RA up to the full retirement sum. Any SA funds above that will head to the OA accounts, which can be withdrawn. The interest is 2.5%. You can transfer these funds to your RA anytime you wish, but they'll only be touchable via your CPF Life payouts. Loo, what does the closing for the special account mean for those of us reaching 55 from 2025? Help us understand our options now.
All right, great. Okay, so first of all, again, good morning to everybody. It's a very surprising to see, very surprising and very painful to see this new policy coming in. Actually, the new rules affect only a group of people. Okay, so if your CPF does not meet the FRS, which is the full retirement sum, currently right now is at $800,000. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't really affect you because these new rules just simply bypass you, because whatever you have in your FRS will simply go from SA to the RA, okay, and nothing else. But for a sizable group of people who has got SA, above the full retirement sum, then all the extra SA will go into the OA, okay? So in the past, it stayed in the SA and earns 4% interest. Now, it goes in OA and earns only 1.5% interest. So in that sense, that's a huge negative impact to some people, because the 1.58% actually right now, 1.58% difference actually made quite some difference. But when you look at it over a lifetime, so that is a big dampener for some of the 1M65 community and a lot of Singaporeans out there.
So if you have invested with your SA and these are sold, the proceeds will then be allocated to your RA account. Is that right?
Well, most people will not invest with their SA. So because the SA earns a 4% interest, so most people will keep their SA in SA.
But you were proposing with the shielding that you buy a short-term instrument and then you liquidate that, and the money would have, when we had an SA account, flow back into your SA, and then you could benefit from the 4.08%. So if somebody wanted to buy an investment instrument with their SA accounts, they're thinking before it closes, what happens then if I buy an investment vehicle and then the SA is no more and I sell that investment vehicle? What happens then?
So it goes to the OA. Yeah, so sorry, let me correct myself. So right now, SA vaporizes after 55 years old.
Right.
And what this part, I think it's something that need clarity, but I'm pretty sure the government will still put whatever that needs to go to RA goes to the RA, and then the excesses goes to the OA. Okay. In the worst case, if you sell it, you know, you will all go to OA, which is what people don't want to happen, because at least it goes to the RA and you get 4% interest there. The downside to the RA is not the interest rate. The downside to the RA is a loss of liquidity. So once you put money into the RA, it yields a 4% interest while it compounds all the way from 55 years old to 65 years old. At 65 years old, you have the option of taking out the money using via CPF Life. So it's a monthly payment, you know, $1,000 plus $2,000 or something like that. But you could delay all the way to 70 years old, and then the government will insist that you take out the money. Either way, you know, you will get a stream of payments every month. We call that an annuity.
Yep.
All the way until the day you pass away. So that's in some sense a plus, but the negative is that, you know, you won't see any principal all the way until the day you die.
Got it. So is the scenario for 4% return, 4.08% return, which the SA used to pay out, plus the ability to control your funds, now only possible if, I mean, how is that just off the table now?
Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Okay, and so unfortunately, the answer is yes. So in the past, you could get both liquidity and high interest. But
With
now
the shielding
that
strategy.
option is gone. Not just with shielding, right? Even though if you don't shield, okay, you could just allow whatever extra money whatever you have. Let's say in my case, let me use my example.
Okay, yeah.
I have got about $400,000 in my SA right now. When I hit 55 years old, my guess is maybe it will be close to $500,000. So this $500,000, okay, first they'll take out the FRS into the RA. So let's say by then it's $250,000. So the other half of my $500,000, which is $250,000, will stay in my SA under the old rules. Okay, I didn't do any SA shielding. This is just no. I'm trying to use the right. No maneuvers or anything. It's just normal. Okay.
Right.
But now the under the new rules, my $250,000 in my SA will go into my OA. Okay. So this will be huge loss. So I have the option of topping up, okay, my RA, what we call 4 times BRS. All these terminology is a bit complicated, but it simply means 2 times the FRS number. Okay. So I think right now you will be looking at somewhere, by the time I hit 55, it probably be about, my guess is about $450,000. So I can top up my FRS to $450,000, and every month, you know, when I hit 65 years old or 70 years old, I'll get $3,000 to $4,000 a month, which is an interesting option. Okay,
It is, yep.
But I lost liquidity in the process. I wouldn't see my $450,000 for the rest of my life. But if I don't like the option, I could put them in OA, okay, and earn 2.5% interest, or invest elsewhere to try to get it somewhere. But you're absolutely right. The government guaranteed 4% with liquidity is totally gone.
You've championed the idea of shielding your SA. How do you feel about this change? What sort of reaction have you been receiving?
First of all, myself, I would say that there was a huge surprise that the government take this action. But, you know, the government is trying to correct a wrong into a right. So what the government is trying to do is, you cannot enjoy both high liquidity and high interest. So what the government does is that they give you now what is a commercial norm, which is if you high interest, then you got to have low liquidity, and if you want high liquidity, then you have low interest. So this is the commercial norm. Okay, I would say that SA was an abnormally. We thought that the government is very kind to continue this for forever, and then unfortunately they have closed this option, and that's very disappointing. for me, and of course for many CPF members who are planning or already enjoying the CPF shielding. Okay, I think that's a big disappointment to them. The whole 1865 community erupted into a fury of anguish, and for the last 48 hours, I suspect that I don't know the actual numbers, but I think we are looking at maybe 5 to 10,000 messages,
Wow.
running around, and they are just very upset. Yes.
Yeah, and you're in Korea now. Thank you for joining us in the midst of all these messages coming your way. For those who were shielding, they were enjoying 4.08% per annum, and the ability to withdraw their funds from SA. What are they thinking? What are they thinking of likely doing? What are their options?
So now it's not all bad. I think there's some good, and I'll come to you in a short while. But the options available right now are probably two or three options. The first one is with the closure of the SA, then extra money will go into the OA. So you could either put there and enjoy interest rates, okay, and just suck it up, right? So that's just life. Or you could now look into other investment options elsewhere. There are a lot of options available out there. You could go into T-bills, which currently gives you 3.6 something percent, and you could possibly go up to 4% depending how the Federal Reserve of US will do their interest rate changes over the next 1 year or so. But this high interest rate for T-bills were not likely to be a long-term thing. I would imagine over the next 6 months, you still probably enjoy this high interest rate. But the Federal Reserve had outright said that they will lower the interest rate, so it will impact Singapore as well. So the T-bills gradually will come down, but it will still be decent, right? 2-3%. So it closes the gap between the 4% and 2.5%. So you will get something there. The option now is also now available for people who invest in a globally diversified world index. I do a lot of that. There are companies. There is a company now. You can do that. I wouldn't name the company, but it's quite popular to do that. I do a lot of OA investments. So this is a second option. Okay, that comes with risk, but potentially higher returns. So it may turn out that you're forced to learn how to invest, and get higher returns. Okay. The third option, which is an interesting option that was formerly not available, is that you could put, a lot of money now in the RA. In short, in the past, we were only allowed to put, 1.5 times the FRS. Now you can put 2 times the FRS, which next year will become $426,000. That's not insignificant. Now, someone will say, "Hey, Mr. Loo, but my money will be locked up until the day I die." That is true, but if you think of it like you are buying a dividend stock, equivalent to like a DBS, OCBC, or UOB, and every month, in exchange for that $426,000 you forgo, you get around 3,300 all the way, maybe even to $4,000, depending on which time you take out. If you take out at 65 years old, you get 3,300 or so. But if you take out at 70 years old, you get 4,000 or so. So it is a very nice dividend payout every month, guaranteed by the government.
Guaranteed, yeah.
So,
very few things are guaranteed.
Guaranteed by government.
Yeah.
Risk, in that sense, commercially risk-free. Okay, I mean, volatility is zero. So you get it, right? So it's not bad. So if you take the dividend payout, okay, for me, I'm probably going to work until I'm 70 because I love working. So if I take $4,000 divided by, the $426,000 that I forgo, okay, it comes out to almost 10% interest, or 9% interest. Not bad, not bad. I don't think I can
Great.
get that. Okay. So that I'll talk about that. This option is great, but there is one big risk. Clearly, we have been hit by this risk right now. What is called policy risk. Nothing is going to guarantee us that the government won't change the payout. Nothing is going to guarantee us the government won't have changes to the rules and things like that. And we just got to be prepared that from now till you die, it's probably a long term, right? So for me, I'm now 52 years old, all the way to the day I die, and hopefully I die at 90 plus, it's 40 over years old. 40 over years is a long time. Things can happen. And the government has shown that, policy risks exist in your CPF. So CPF members, when they put money into the ERS, they got to be balanced in their thinking. Here I have high returns. That's great. Then the other option, the other angle to look at it is that we have now have policy risks that can happen. So you got to weigh it yourself, right? So there's no perfect answer to this.
Okay, thank you very much for that. What about top ups as a strategy? Say you are financially prudent, you want to manage your own retirement with minimal CPF life. Is it possible to still save $1 million by 65 using CPF as your tool?
Okay, that's an extremely good question because I get that question in in almost floodgate this 48 hours. Okay, the answer is yes. My wife and I, we started our CPF top-up journey around 30 years old. We continue to work. So every month our salaries goes into the CPF. By 45 years old, we hit $1 million. In the past, that would be a phenomenal achievement, but not anymore because now I've been outdone by many CPF 1M65 enthusiasts. Okay, and they learn it from my YouTube channel, they learn it from my Telegram channel. They have outdone me. The latest I met was 1M38.
Wow, 38-year-old
I have a
millionaire.
couple, yeah, 38 years old who made $1 million in their CPF. Now the CPF doesn't mean that you are rich. The CPF simply means that you are savvy and you start early. Okay, and this couple made 1M38. So I've been outdone many times right now by people. So all of them have not hit 55 years old yet. So they are now doing 1M38, 1M45, 1M50. So I would just say this. I have now at 51 years old, going to 52 this year. My wife and I has now achieved 2M51. 2M51. 2M, yeah, 2M.
Wow.
So that's 2M. So I haven't hit 55 years old yet. So it is possible to hit 1M55. Okay. So it's possible. It's not a walk in the park. Okay. You need to invest early into your SA, and you also need to know how to manage your OA so that you get higher returns. In my case, I use my OA to invest in S&P 500. There are other options as well. But cumulatively, by now, we are now 51, 52 years old. My wife and I, we have now hit 2M. Okay. So by the time we hit 55 years old, of course, the sum of money you need to go to the RA or whatever, and then the rest will go to OA. I have now the options of thinking whether I want to top up my RA furthermore, or I keep it there and invest elsewhere.
So it is possible to still hit 1 million by 65 without an RA account at age 55.
Absolutely, yeah. So the downside is that
Without an
would
SA
there be more
account, excuse
policy?
me. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I would just say that you need to accumulate as much as possible before 55. From 55 to 65, that period is now the change.
Yep.
Okay, you probably have to make a decision whether to top up your RA or you put money in OA and invest that OA. In the past, we have the comfort of being fairly investment illiterate, and still the number would compound. Now, we don't have a choice. We got to learn to be financially savvy and take on some investment knowledge, know-how, so that we know how to maximize the return of your ordinary account.
Mr. Loo, some people say the losers here with this change are the CPF rich. I want to ask you, who do you think the winners are? Is the winners of this big change really the investment brokers that allow you to use your OA and SA to invest in index funds?
Okay, so I think there are winners and losers of this. I've been talking to gazillion people, so I finally realized who are the winners and who are the losers. A lot of people say this policy only hit the rich. Okay, the poor doesn't matter, the kind of thing. I would like to introduce this term called CPF rich. That means you can be ordinary in your normal wealth, but you have a lot of money in your CPF, okay? Or you could have very little in your CPF, but you're very rich outside. But here, when I'm going to define CPF rich as people with sizable savings above their FRS at 55. That means I've got a lot of money in my SA. So this group of people will be hit. I realized that the very rich don't bother about this policy. Okay, why? Because they have a lot of money, right? It doesn't really matter to them. To them, yeah, between 1.5% and 4% is only 1.5%. What on earth is this difference? No big deal. So to be frank with you, the very well-to-do, none of them has called me for help. None. Okay. The people with low CPF balance, again, none of them, has also called me for help because it didn't matter to them because they had nothing, they're not enough to start with. But the middle class, which were aspiring to get CPF rich and retirement rich using CPF by the time retire, that's the group that get hit and get hit pretty badly. A rough calculation in my case, I don't want to use other people's numbers. I use my numbers. I think in this scenario, I'll lose compared to the old case, I'll lose $100,000. If I take the difference of interest rate of 1.5%, multiply it to the years that I pass away, maybe say at 90 years or something like that, I will lose about $100,000. And $100,000 is not insignificant for a middle class person who is working very hard to save up their SA so that they have a good retirement. Then the other portion that comes from to contribute $100,000 is the SA shielding. That is also gone. So that's why we have a sizable one. We get different estimates between 50 to 150,000 or so from the community. So this is not a trivial impact. Yeah. So the one that get hit in summary are what we call the CPF middle class, who has been trying very hard to save a lot of money in their SA so that they have a decent retirement. Okay. This group of people, the not very rich and the not the people who are CPF poor, the middle class get hit, and that's pretty sad that they lost this. I don't know how big this group is. The CPF board will probably have the numbers, but you are right. There's one particular group of people that will make money out of this are the financial planners and the financial brokers and the robo-advisors, right? Already my community is giving me this feedback that they have receiving a lot of calls from their financial advisors telling them that, hey, you see, these options is now closed already. Come, talk to me. I give you other options, right? Insurance link investments, certain policies, and robo-advisors now offering, index funds that you can use your OA to invest and things like that. If you allow me, I will just say this to everybody. At this juncture where things are not clear, the policy is not cast in stone, do not overreact, okay? You have 1 year or close to 1 year. Now it's February, the policy will enact in January 2024. There is no need to overreact. We got time to slowly think, explore the options, okay? Speak to the right people, to come to a good conclusion for yourself. Everybody's circumstances are different, everybody's risk profile is different. But if you now react emotionally and change your CPF balances and things like that, and then the government make tweaks again to the policy, and you might get hit, right? So stay calm, stay steady, and let's watch how it develops and look at all your options.
Keep calm, carry on, keep saving. Keep calm. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And we've been discussing when you turn 55, one of your CPF accounts, a special account or SA, will cease to exist. What are your options now? My guest today, Loo Cheng Chuan. Hang on, Mr. Loo, I have about 5,000 more questions to ask you. We'll do this off air.